Hendrik Verwoerd was a psychologist. He believed 100% in the Nazi system. So the National Party appointed him to be the Minister of the Native Affairs. Officially, 100%, he had to plan the future of the natives in South Africa. From 1948, he welcomed that policy with all arms. The first policy that he introduced was the Group Areas Act, meaning that divide and rule. We were 4 races in South Africa. It's the whites, it's the Indians, it's what in South Africa we call the colored people. In abroad, I don't want to mention it, but here, you know, it's the colored and us, the natives. So he introduced that South Africa had to be divided according to race. So the Group Areas Act. That was legislated. National Party accepted that policy. Then in 1950, he introduced the Immorality Act, which meant that the black and white were no more allowed to marry each other. For those who were married before, they became illegal. That's what we come from. So they had to emigrate from South Africa. Because when he introduced the Group Areas Act, all the blacks, where they were mixed, then they had to be moved down to the areas for black people, which is Soweto, in Cape Town, District 6, and you name them. So he actually called South Africa had black spots, meaning that in those mixed areas, there were black spots, meaning we were the black spots in those areas. So we were moved down south. Right, Immorality Act, Group Areas Act, and the education system. So the blacks had to have their own inferior education, which was called the Bantu education. They thought they were actually upgrading from natives to Bantu. Bantu meaning us. So the education was programmed that we were only taught how to speak English. Nothing more than that. To speak Afrikaans, nothing more than that. To write Afrikaans or English, nothing more than that. The reason was we had to be proud, which is our parents had to be proud of that. And also, there was then a monitoring Dutch passport. The whites had carried the ID, the blacks, they carried the passbook. And in the contents in the passbook were, when you open the passbook, where it was supposed to say citizens of South Africa, let's say Lungi Mad, which is me, my passbook would, where it should say I am the citizen of the country, it would say only the ethnic group, I'm a Zulu. So on the ethnic of the citizen part, there was nothing written, meaning that I did not qualify to vote in South Africa. That's the history where we come from, right? So Mandela was a member of the ANC. So he actually challenged those policies before I was established in the 1960s. He was born in 1918, so he came along with that. Then those were the policies of the control of the movement of the blacks. It carried on, that's 1948, 50, all the way to 1955. In 1955, in a place called Kliptown, I'm going to drive you quickly there. In Kliptown, that's where the ANC then amended their policies. They created an inclusive charter. They created an inclusive charter which stated that South Africa belonged to all who lived in it, inclusive of those that took the land in 1913. That's where the problem started. So within the members of the ANC, they were not happy. The argument, the objection was, how can we include the enemy in our plan for the future? So there was that disagreement until finally in 1959, some of the members, which are the most, they pulled out of that policy. Then a movement also was formed, which was the Pan-Africanist Congress. Robert Sobukwe became the first president. We called him the professor. I grew up believing it in his policy. So I've never been part of the policy which Mandela believed in myself and within my house there. Because we cannot talk about land when the land is in the possession of the oppressor. Give the land back, then we can share it to you. So within the part of the ANC, which is the Mandela Party, we as South Africans of my age and those that are above, we feel that somewhere he signed in the wrong dot in terms of compromising the economy, because he never challenged the land. Robert Sobukwe challenged the land. That's why he died before. They worked on him quickly, you know. So that's what happened. 1959 policy, PAC was formed. And there was already a high rate of police harassment. In the Constitutional Hill, you've seen where some of our veterans were talking about the police harassment under the passbook, the passes.
Yeah.
You must have seen all that.
Yeah, who's a criminal?
So that led to a protest on the 21st of March. You must have seen the Sharpeville massacre on the 21st of March. It was originally challenged by the PAC that on the 21st of March, all the natives would stay away from work. They would go to the nearest police station closer to their township and take out their passbook, and all group pour it down, pour gasoline and burn them. And they would raise their hands and demand arrest. The aim was to show the world that here is a country who's arresting people for not carrying their passport, which was so segregatory. So the police commissioner in Sharpeville ordered the police to shoot instead of negotiating. So in 30 seconds, 69 black young women and young men were shot, all of them from the back, meaning that they were not challenging the state. They were all running. So in 30 seconds, they were all mowed down. So for us to sometimes listen to Nelson Mandela and say, let's forgive. That's the first hit. Not easy for us to say, come on, let's talk it over the table, with such atrocities. So that's what happened, Sharpeville massacre, and that was the turning point of South Africa. It's when I was born then. I was born in September, so just when South Africa was ungovernable. So it carried on from there until 1976. So I will lock it there for now, just to give you the background of what you've been in the Constitutional Hill, so that even if you go to Apartheid Museum, you'll get most of it. But I want to talk about where we are now.